It's a beautiful morning in North Carolina. I am out early in the morning before it gets too crazy hot. It's only like 75 right now, so I'm sure it'll be in the mid 90s again today. But I wanted to do a quick video to show you and tell you a few things that I didn't get a chance to cover in my Rad Rover performance upgrade video. There was just too much. There was too much to cover. I had to cut it down and edit some of it out. So I took out some things I wanted to talk about in that video because, you know, it was still over 20 minutes long. I didn't want to make it too long. So I'm going to tell you those things today that I cut out of there, well, at least a couple of them anyway, that, you know, I think they might be important to know or interesting to know. So let's just jump into the first one, and it's regarding the battery. So let's take a look at it real quick. Okay, so the one thing I wanted to tell you about the battery, I don't think I even put this in my battery video, and that's that when I mounted this thing, a lot of you asked, you know, did you use the stock battery cradle? No, I didn't. You can't use the stock one. There are different connections for the battery. Let's just take this off. So these connections right here, completely different than the stock Rad Rover one. So you can't use a stock cradle for this 52 volt battery. And the one thing I want to tell you is it mounted on here really no trouble. You can see I've got the bolt right here, the bolt right here. Through this, on the stock one, there's actually a third bolt up here. So this is held on by 2 bolts instead of 3. It feels very secure. I don't think it's going anywhere. The third hole is like right up here. I drilled through the plastic because I was going to try to put the screw in there, but then I realized I'd have to countersink it because the battery won't clear it, so I just left it out of there. So this cradle is held on by just 2 bolts right now, but it's, like I said, it's on there tight. It's not going anywhere. I'm not really worried about it. So something to note, the slots here for the mounting holes don't line up perfectly. Even if you slide it the whole way up, it still doesn't reach. Just something to keep in mind. All right, so if you're wondering what this contraption here is, this is my gimbal. This is what keeps the camera shot steady when I'm doing those hill climbs and high-speed runs and whatnot, and I need to have a nice steady clear shot of the display screen. That's my gimbal. That's what does that, and then I've got it hooked onto this little clamp, which oddly enough fits that Rover frame tube like perfectly. I don't quite know why it fits so perfect on there, the one I bought, but links to that are on my website if you want to get a similar setup. It's not really easy to pedal with that on there, but when I'm doing those tests, it's throttle only, so gives you a nice smooth camera shot. Anyway, don't know if anybody picked up on this stuff, but you can see I have blacked out the Rover advertising and logos. I've got other plans, so more on that later. Stay tuned. All right, so I'm gonna switch camera holders here and jump on this bike because I want to talk about something else as we ride. All right, so the other thing I want to talk about is the power setting. So I did a screenshot in my last video of all the settings that I currently use, and I've got this C5 setting, which is the power output setting. I've got it set to 8, 7, 8, somewhere in there, usually when I'm riding around normally. And when I did those upgrade results tests, you know, the final runs of everything with all the upgrades, I had it set in 8. I didn't have it maxed out, so I don't know how much of a difference that'll make if it, you know, gives you more top end having that bumped up. I can't imagine it's going to be that much of a difference, but I've gone in there now. I've bumped it up to 10, and I'm going to go back out to my 1/8 1/4 mile run spot where I can get, you know, nice long level. Basically, what tells you what the bike does on level ground top speed. I'm going to go do another pull on that run there with it maxed out at 10 and see if it's any faster or makes any difference. So let's go do that. My prediction is that it's not going to make much difference, but this is why we test. We'll see. All right, as always, throttle only, no pedaling. Hopefully the sun will allow you to see that screen. All right, it looks like it made a little bit of a difference there, about 1 mile an hour. All right, so that power setting does make a difference. I got an extra about 1 mile an hour out of this bike. New top speed, 33.7. So bumping that power up to a 10 did make a little bit of a difference. I'll say, so all the videos I did with the current controller, the motor, the battery upgrades, they were all done in that setting C5. They were done with it set to 8. So the results are consistent. But yeah, just know that setting does make a difference for the speed and the power. It did give more power, that's for sure. So that brings us to the next thing I want to talk about, which is the watts. So the old Rad Rover screen did have a watt indicator or readout, whatever you want to call it, and you know, it went up to 750, and that was about it. So I did a video a while back that was transform your Rad Rover to 1200 watts with just $200, and that was me buying the controller upgrade, because when I put that on there, you know, that one was reading out that I was at about 1200, actually over 1200 watts when you cranked it to the max. So when I did just the controller upgrade, it went to, you know, over 1200. I think it might even crack 1300 at some point. It was like 1290-ish, somewhere in there. When I did the motor upgrade, putting in the Fang 750, you know, the aftermarket motor, I didn't have that motor in there very long, didn't do many rides before I just went right to the battery. So, but I do remember seeing it jump up again. It went up even higher to maybe 1500 range. So I don't know why the motor, changing the motor out would give me more watts. Maybe it can handle a higher current going through it. I don't know. I'll let the e-bike nerds explain that one to me, because I'm dumb with that stuff. But changing the motor made the watts go up as well. And now that I've put the 52 volt battery on, they're up even higher. So rather than just tell you, I'm going to show you right now. Hopefully I'm going to take this camera and do a handheld thing so you can get a good close-up of the screen. But I want to show you the exact watt output that I see with this baby maxed out. Okay, we switched to my little camera stick here, but this is going to be really hard because this thing has a lot of twitchy torque down low now. So riding one-handed is quite difficult. When you hit this throttle, this bike hits hard. So try not to lose it here, but I'm going to try to give you a close-up of this screen so you can see that watt output when I just run it to full throttle. We're going to go down this street. It's pretty flat. There might be a little bit of an incline, so let's hit it. Alright, well I was trying to drive there, but when I looked down it said 1724. Okay, well there you go. This baby is a 1700 watt super beast. And it only cost me over $1,000. I've had some people in the comments ask me, like, why would you do this? Why would you waste so much money on a Rad Rover? Because I like the Rad Rover. I like the look of it. It's been a great bike for me, and I already own it. So I don't want to just throw it in the garage and let it sit there, collect dust, and go buy something else. And I kind of wanted to do it to show everybody what's possible if you're like me and you already bought this bike specifically, or a bike similar to it, you know, that you can make it faster and perform better if you want to. It costs you a little bit of money, but I mean, if you were to go out and try to buy an electric bike with 1700 watts, off the top of my head, I don't know one. I mean, there's some that get, you know, 2,000 watts plus, but those bikes also cost like well over $3,000, probably closer to $4,000, which as this bike sits today, I've only got maybe $2,500 into it. It was $1,500 when I bought it. I've put $1,000 worth of performance upgrades in it. So I'm not counting all the accessory crap that I've got mounted all over it. So, you know, you could buy a Rad Rover and upgrade it and come out about $2,500. You'd probably be better off just buying a better bike for that money and starting fresh with a good bike. But I don't know that those bikes are 1,700 watts, the ones you can get for, you know, $2,500. I think they're probably closer to 1,000 watts. So it's really up to you what you want to do. Start with a better bike from the start, or I mean, this was my first e-bike and I knew nothing about e-bikes when I bought it. So If I could go back in time, would I buy this exact bike? I don't know, maybe. I like the bike, it's been a good bike, no problems with it. And I rode it for probably a good 2 years before I got, you know, just, okay, I want more. There's just, it's a fun bike, but you want a little bit more power out of it. So if you are up to date on all of your e-bike stuff and you know of an e-bike out there that costs $2,500 or less and has over 1,700 watts, put it in the comments. Off the top of my head, I can't think of one, but they're probably out there, I'm sure. So this bike is far from stock Rad Rover anymore. That's why I have kind of gotten rid of the badging. I didn't like the orange. I want to go a different way. I might do a different color. I got something already planned to put on there. But yeah, we're up over 1,700 watts now. New top speed 33.7 was it? I'll have to check the footage. And yeah, it's a lot of power. It's a completely different bike for sure. Doing all these upgrades, it is drastically different. And it's a little twitchy down low. You got to get used to that. And then also too, I did try to wheelie it after I did all the upgrades, and I almost lost it. The bike came up 12 o'clock. I had to jump off the back and hang onto the handlebars and wrestle it down. I was not expecting that. I almost flipped it. Yeah, it was shockingly powerful. I've almost lost it numerous times trying to do that. So yeah, hard to wheelie. I'm not good at bicycle wheelies, so there you go. That's upgrade stuff that I didn't get to include in, you know, the results video. I've got other stuff coming. We got to do something to the brakes, so I got some brake upgrades on the way. Hopefully get those next week and get them put on and show you what I'm going to do there and how it works, so you know. So I gotta quit spending money on this bike, right? Yeah, either that or find somebody to give me all this stuff for free, right? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. That is all for today. Get out there, do some rides, post it so I can see. I do actually look at the pages of people that comment and view my stuff, and there's almost never anybody that's got video content. It's pretty rare. So get out there, do some rides on your bike. I'd be curious to see some other people's Rad Rover upgrades. I don't know of anything else I could do to this thing power wise that would amp it up even more. If you know of something, let me know. I'll look into that. Everybody asks about doing the front motor. Put the old motor in the front wheel. I had no clue how to even begin to do that. I don't know if that's possible. I haven't seen any kind of kit to do that. How you would do that with, you're gonna have two different throttles, you have to link everything together. It seems extremely complicated. I'm probably not gonna do that. That seems way above my pay grade at this point. So don't expect a motor on the front wheel anytime soon. I don't think you really need it, honestly. It's fast enough and powerful enough as it is. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more.